Yeah. The man has been. Don't you do okay. All yours, Mr. Chair.
We're all ready then, yeah? Right. Welcome everyone to the Assets and Facilities Committee meeting on Monday the 30th of March 2026. I won't read out for all the information that'll be taken as read, but I will remind people that this meeting is being recorded, and should you have any concerns about or you don't want to be in here, please speak to the clerk. Well, the meeting's commenced now, but it is being recorded. Have we got any apologies at all?
Councillor Williams may be late, which she obviously is now.
Thank you for that. Any declarations of interest? No. Dispensations? No. Well, we'll move on to the minutes then of the last meeting held on the 26th of January. Any comments? Can I have a proposer then, please? Second, yeah. Show of hands then, please. Thank you.
Sorry, Dan proposed?
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about the then notice board later on, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we'll go on to the town CCTV then, please.
Nothing particularly has changed. Obviously, all the toilets are now coming on stream with their CCTV. What we don't currently have in place is the broadband links, so that we can monitor it from here, but it is recording on site, and we hope to have it accessible from here very shortly. We're just waiting for the broadband circuits.
And our deployable cameras are all in place.
Deployable cameras are all still deployed, apart from one, which has had an issue, which has now been sorted and is coming back tomorrow, I think. And we may do something different with the deployable, or one deployable, depending on a conversation with the police about other things that are going on somewhere else in town.
Yeah.
But that's what they're for.
Yeah, exactly.
The idea is to move them around.
Toilets update then, please.
Okay, well, Eastcliff is operational with beneficial occupation. So contractually, we haven't accepted it per se, legally. And there are a number of outstanding issues around rainwater harvesting, solar panels. There was a power cut at Eastcliff, scheduled, well, planned power cut by Western Power. They disconnected some cables for some tree cutting, and the backup battery didn't carry the toilet. So that has been flagged. So Eastcliff in service. Den was a soft opening on Thursday last week. Temporary toilets have been effectively handed back to Teambridge, who will decommission and have them removed. Sadly, there was significant vandalism the night before they shut, because they might have gone another day. We have fortuitously some video of the three individuals throwing stuff out of the toilets, because of course there's no CCTV in those toilets. And we have followed them elsewhere, and there might have been a sighting of them on Sunday morning when Jared and I were at the Den toilets. So we want some communication with the police, because it may well be that their parents have to pay the bill, which will be in the thousands, because they will go back to Portakabin, who they rented from, and they will charge. I can't believe for a second they won't. So that's where we are with that. Key Road should go live this Thursday. The thing it is waiting for is the electricity meter. So the power connection is there, but the meters providers, until they have a photograph showing the national grid connection, they won't commit to a date, presumably because they go to lots of places and it's not done. We have a temporary power supply currently from shop mobility to allow for testing and things. And I said, obviously, we will give them some sort of donation to cover the cost of the electricity. The point we had hoped would be ready for Easter. It won't be. I did manage to get Devon County Council to move heaven and earth to allow the contractor to make the drainage connection, which is the only thing outstanding. And then the contractor said they can't do it, which I think is, to say the least, somewhat irritating. So that's probably going to be in the teens of April. And then the old point will close and revert to Teambridge. Lower Brook Street, we have a few contractual issues with Healthmatic, which I think by and large we have resolved. I think we'll probably do a press release because there was quite a string of people questioning. I think they think it's just going to be shut to put 40p barriers, and it's not. It's to provide the changing places toilet, which is huge and huge for Teignmouth, really, because we're one of the few towns now that doesn't have one. And for the people that use changing places toilets, they are the difference between it being able to go somewhere and not. And that's, they're going to be about 2 months, but we will put a release out because there's an awful lot of incorrect information floating around. And people complaining they'll have to go up 3 floors in Wetherspoons.
As an aside,
Yes.
there are a lot of commercial vehicles that pull up outside expecting to be open. So,
we've also had Teambridge District Council reach out to us because lots of their staff, whether they be parish sweepers, dustbin men, whatever, use public toilets, and they have asked, can we sell them cards, basically? And the answer will be yes, and we have a little bit more of the detail of that today.
Yeah.
So hopefully within a couple of weeks we'll have cards available for members of the public to purchase, and we also had an inquiry from a food retailer that was concerned that their young staff weren't paid enough money to be able to pay 40p to use the toilet. We did indicate that we will be supplying, bulk cards will be available at a discount, but I thought the salient point was they're not paid enough. Yeah. And I think we have catered for most eventualities, and I'm sure more will come up, which we will cater with. I think that really. Any questions on toilets?
Yeah, the damage to the temporary toilets, you say that you've got CCTV evidence and the perpetrators of the, shall I say, crime may well be billed. In the event of that not happening, who will have to shoulder that cost?
We will.
We will, to the town council.
People of Teignmouth, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it won't be the individual, because I would say they're probably 14-ish. So it would be whether we can reclaim it from their parents.
Okay.
And given that it's of some magnitude, we may well need to. Because it's likely to be £5,000–6,000. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just unbelievable, really. But there we go.
yeah. Do we know which route they took when they left?
Oh, they have been followed with CCTV.
Into the town after.
Into the town.
Into the town.
Only on the side, this is on the same evening, a lot of black recycling bins all around the French Street area and the Pound Lane area. Darcy Riley's,
That's also the bike stolen out the shed in Pound Lane, which ended up on the railway line as well.
a lot.
Oh, nice.
And then the tunnel has been spray painted through to the train station the same night as well.
Well, one of them does carry a rucksack.
And they're all on bicycles, all on pushbikes.
If you can pick up what I've told you,
I've had a look.
you might well have a look.
We think we'll get the local force to come and have a look, because they know we'll recognise them instantly as being known to them. And it's then just getting enough bits and pieces to put together. And interestingly, when they came out of the temporary toilets, they then went over to the new toilets, which were obviously shut, and they gave the rubber shutter a kicking, but obviously that wasn't going anywhere. And then they gave the display screen a kicking, and that again managed to take some abuse and gave up and went. But so they're nice children.
Right, thank you for that again.
Can I just add another one on there? It might be worth talking to the pavilions, because they used to have similar trouble with some young boys who used to try and get in there and block the toilets. Do you remember that? They used to put Coke cans down the roof, which would flood them out. And if it's the young boys that I saw both Saturday and Friday night, they look remarkably like the same guys.
Well, if it was, we would be able to track them with our CCTV out of the temporary toilets along the seafront into the pavilions.
Well, they did. That wasn't one of the things that they did, but they may have names for them, or certainly agreement that it is likely to be them, because, as I said, I've seen them now Friday night and Saturday night down there, and nowhere near the loos. They were down, but you know, to be fair, they were just three guys on bikes.
Well,
and a little one on a scooter.
To my surprise, when they did the temporary toilets, it's 6:15 at night, broad daylight.
Yeah.
They don't care.
And that's
I mean,
when they
there's
were
no
down
people
there, you
around
see.
for a second, they just don't care.
They were down by the Riviera and George Street.
I think on the footage we see a gentleman going into the gents, and they come out and stop whatever they're doing, and then they carry on once he leaves, and they're actually carrying stuff out and putting it under the port gallery. But it's just that far away.
Which is toilet roll dispenser smashed off the wall, soap dispenser smashed off the wall,
Windows
mud
smashed.
and excrement everywhere.
Mm.
Oh, well.
We can do this.
Yeah, but my concern was, or is, despite the fact we have the new toilets heavily CCTV, if they don't give a toss about being cool, that's no deterrent. But we'll see.
Right, up to you again then, please, Town Clerk, the community. meetings.
Community units, yeah, well, we have planning permission.
Hey.
Hey,
Yes.
eventually. So we have part 2 items, because we need to get it costed up now, and then, you know, get to the point where council can make a decision. So, yeah, been a long haul.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, we haven't got there yet, Colin, but yes, it's a milestone.
Planning Commission,
And I do have to record, Councillor Peter Williams from Teambridge has been helpful in this matter.
Our chatting benches then, do you want to make a comment?
Yeah, so both benches are in now, one by the, I'd say by the wishing well.
Yeah.
And one almost, I would say, opposite the old underground toilets near the ice cream kiosk. So both in, as we discussed earlier, probably both being used very much. So,
And I'd like to give you my personal thanks for doing that.
No problem at all, it's a pleasure.
It's really well. And,
Yeah. we've had a load of good feedback from people,
yeah,
which is nice.
very, very quickly, a guy from Provus initiated that through me. He was desperate to try and get something like that, because he'd seen them working elsewhere. And I know Teambridge themselves were a bit wary about sort of doing it, because of whatever how it works. I've seen people, but whether they actually knew each other when they were sitting on the bench, but you know, who knows. But yes, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no problem, it's a pleasure.
And if you ever want to extend it, just because churning memorial benches is something that happens. So, you know, if you think there's a third location or whatever, just let Jared know. I'm sure that can get worked in at basically, you know, not much cost, because people churning the benches anyway.
I'm conscious that, as I said to you before, we don't want to dilute
No.
too many.
No.
And I'm also conscious that sometimes, perhaps in the summer months, that people might want to sit down, but look at the bench and think, well, I'm not going to sit down here.
Someone talks to me.
So, right, we'll go on. Well, item 9 is now the exclusion of the general public for our part 2. So, can I have a proposal, please?
Yeah.
Second, yeah. All in favour? Yeah.
Okay,
So,
we'll suspend or stop streaming. Thank you.
thank you.
You know what's that?